stop driving for Uber until you watch this video, because it's blown me mind. I thought about it today, and I'll literally use ChatGPT to analyse and do everything for me. It took me about an hour to program it and tell me the results, and I'm going to reveal the results in this video, right? So Uber technically, right, pays you around an hourly wage to a certain degree. You all see it. If you do dead good, the next hour you're a bit crap to bring your average down to around your £15 to £20 an hour. That's what a lot of people say. Uber is heavily on time based, not on mileage based, right? So people look at Uber and go, oof, £20 an hour, great stuff, right? But what's actually matters, if you record your mileage, which is the most important factor, guys, doing this job. I know a lot of people say, look at the time, look at the time, look at the miles, right? If you look at your miles from start the shift to finish the shift, we are literally at £1 a mile. That's going to the job, going home, driving around a little bit, looking around, driving home. You're on £1 a mile or less, right? So for the basis of this video, we're going to go at £1 a mile, right? So I've got ChatGPT to analyse everything for me and make sure it's as close to accurate as possible, and the results are absolutely mind-blowing. Honestly, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Do us a favour, YouTube loves interaction, so like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a little comment below, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little video. Thank you. Guys, just before this video starts, do me a favour, please. Boom! DM Airport Transfers is a UK-wide airport transfer company from flipping Scotland to London. Any airport, any city, going anywhere. I've got drivers up and down the country awaiting your work. We are slowly growing this year, and it's getting busier and busier. But obviously, if you know anyone, or you're watching and you're going on holiday, have a little quote. It's free to do. Get a little quote, book online, and it does help me out massively. So please, if you want, please consider doing it, okay? Now listen, over this video, right, the last couple of times people have said to me, they messed me up, bloody hell, blah, 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 blah. And I've asked them, oh, bloody hell, hey, how many miles? Because most cars now will tell you how many miles you've done since your engine's turned on, or since your last charge, if you're in an EV. And literally everyone I've asked has come back and went, £1 a mile. Literally £1 a mile from leaving the house and getting home to the house, right? So we're at £1 a mile, yeah? So if you do 200 miles, you're earning £200. Now this, you're thinking, why is this important, right? Because expenses are based on miles, yeah? So if you do £200 and 200 mile, and you're in a Tesla Model 3, or you do £200 and 200 mile in the Mercedes V-Class, you're going to earn the same money, but you're going to profit a hell of a lot less. And a lot of people don't look at expenses and don't look at how much they're actually spending or how much their car is using, etc, etc. So that's why I've done this video. And myself personally, after seeing the results, I really, really do think going forward that you should not work Uber, yeah, if you're not in a hybrid or a full electric car. Maybe a very efficient diesel, maybe, but guys, wait till you see the results. I was blown away. All right, so let's get into it. So I asked ChatGPT, I went average 50,000 miles, because that's an average a full-timer drives, right? Every vehicle is 3 years old, right? Because different councils have different rulings, right? Bought outright. So this test is not finance, is not interest rates and nothing like that. It's even worse if you financed up on a big car. This is if you own the vehicle outright, yeah? So just say you went 20 grand and you bought this car, boom. This is what it's about, right? Also, it compared maintenance costs, well, purchasing costs for one, maintenance costs, servicing, tyres, electric running, diesel, petrol running, literally the plate, MOT, everything. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's an automatic car, it included the automatic gearbox service. It's literally gone, it broke it down and went into everything, right? Yeah. So this expense that we're going to go through now, it's just for your vehicle. It's not for anything else. Do you know what I mean? So like obviously tolls or car washes and stuff like that, that's not included, right? But then at least it can give you the ballpark idea going forward when you're working out your facts and figures, okay? So I asked ChatGPT, I named 2 EVs that are popular, I named 2 diesels that are popular, and I named 2 diesel minibuses that are popular. I've done a standard and a premium of each class, right? So for the electric cars, I've done an MG5 estate, dead cheap, dead reliable electric car, and then I've done a Tesla Model 3. Same again, bit more premium, bit more expensive than the MG5, and that's how they're comparing the EVs. And then for the diesels, classic Skoda Octavia and the Mercedes E-Class, same again, you see them all over the roads. Oh, sorry, and I've done the hybrids as well. I think I've done the hybrids actually. Let me look back over it. I'm pretty sure I've done the hybrids. And I've done a Corolla and a Kia Niro. Same again, 2 different hybrids. And then I've done the minibus, Ford Neo, and the Mercedes V-Class. So I've done a standard minibus to an executive minibus. Here are the results. I'm going to put the results up on the screen somewhere, right? But I'm going to go through them for you. So I have compared the 2 EVs, the 2 hybrids, the 2 diesel cars, and the 2 minibuses, right? But what kind of blew me away was the results, and also how close EV cars are to hybrids. Now, EV cars are super cheap to run, but I'm assuming it will be the depreciation costs that are bringing their costs a little bit higher and closer to hybrids. Like a Toyota Corolla hybrid will depreciate less at the moment than a Tesla Model 3, and I'm guessing that's why the figure's a little bit closer. But actual running costs, I do think that the EVs are a little bit better than what the chart is showing. It's only because the current market where the EVs are depreciating massively, do you know what I mean? But here are the results. So the cheapest car per mile for the full car, every single expense, including the MOT, the works, MG5 EV. So 21 pence per mile. So if you think about it, if you do £1 per mile, you're getting 80p in your back pocket, right? So if you do 100 quid, yeah, 100 mile, easy to work out, you're left with 80 quid in your back pocket, okay? And now Tesla Model 3, one sec, the dog's barking. So the Tesla Model 3 is second at 26p. Now I'm only assuming the Tesla's as high as it is because they're a lot more expensive to buy, and obviously it's classed as a premium vehicle, so it's a lot more expensive probably to maintain and repair than it would as an MG. Okay, at 26p, you're still left with still costing you £26 per 100 quid. It's still good. Next one, which has surprised me, the Kia Niro Hybrid has slightly beat the Corolla at 28 and 29 pence per mile. But now you're thinking about it, guys, you're coming up to 30 pence per mile here, right? 30 pence per mile from 100 quid is £30 off your 100 quid, so you're only left with 70 quid, okay? It's going up and up and up. Right, Skoda Octavia is 31, so it's a couple of pence more per mile than the hybrids. That surprised me. I'm only assuming it's just because obviously they do produce really good mile per gallon, and they probably depreciate a hell of a lot less because Skoda's a solid car, especially when you get a second-hand one. Now this is the biggest surprise of the lot. A Ford Tornado Custom, which is the Ford people carrier 9-seater minibus, is 34 pence per mile. Second is Mercedes E-Class, 38 pence per mile. And I messaged ChatGPT and said, what's going on? How can you have a car more than a minibus? And he come back and said the Ford Tornado's cheaper to insure, even though it's got more seats. It's cheaper to repair, it's cheaper to maintain, and they don't depreciate as much as cars because minibuses are quite resilient, and they're once you've lost a fair few years, they hold on to the price quite well. So the fact that the Ford Tornado Customs are 34 pence per mile is absolutely quite impressive, to be honest. Mercedes E-Class, 38 pence per mile, nearly 40p per mile. So if you think about 100 quid doing Uber, yeah, you're left with 60 quid after your car. Now, people always ask me, is it worth going exec to get the exec jobs? And looking at this chart, if I'm going to start on Uber now, right, and I'm brand new, and I go, I'll get an E-Class, I'll get some of the odd exec jobs, and it'll be, look at it, it's double the price to the MG, do you know what I mean? And it's 10p more than the Kia Niro Hybrid. This is per mile, guys, 10p per mile, and you're doing 1,000 mile a week. It's a big, big number, guys. Even though the chart is going like this, These are huge numbers when you're doing 4,000 or 5,000 mile a month. Like crazy numbers, guys, honestly. So, the Ford Teneo underneath the E-Class shocked me. And when I did ask ChatGPT, they said Mercedes is more expensive to service, the maintenance is more expensive, the repairs is more expensive, they're more expensive to buy, where Fords are quite cheap to run, etc., etc., maintain. And then the big one, which is a very popular one these days, is the Mercedes V-Class. 50 pence per mile. So every £100 you make on Uber, it's going to be, you're bringing in about 50 quid profit. That's sickening. I know lads who run V-Classes on Uber. That is sickening. Do you know what I mean? And the reason I wanted to do this video was just A, to give you an idea of expenses. Stop looking at income and look at your expenses. Your expenses are more important doing this job than your income. So looking at this chart, right? If you're MG5, yeah, and you're happy to run up and down everywhere, doing the jobs on Uber, pound a mile, go for it. If you're edging towards your middle of the chart, Corolla, Skoda Octavia, Ford Teneo Custom, I'd go to local companies where you do less miles, and each mile you do is worth more per mile. Do you know what I mean? So as an example, that Ford Teneo Custom, 34 pence per mile. If he does £100 on Uber, he'll get around approximately £34 expense, yeah? So what's that? £65 in his back pocket if he does Uber. If you done 100 mile on a local company, right, he could be doing £220 for 100 miles. Minus the 34p, it's 34 quid. He's banking a hell of a lot more money. Because you don't look at income, you look at profits, guys. And a lot of people say to me, I can do £20 an hour. I'm like, yeah, but you're in a V-Class, mate. Yeah, but £20 an hour adds up over the week. Do you know what I mean? And it's so important to look at it. As an example, right, let's do a figure that easy. Tesla Model 3, 25p per mile. So it's a quarter, yeah? So if I do £20 on Uber, yeah, £20 on Uber, a quarter of it, £5 is the car. Boom, I'm left with 15 quid, right? Because don't forget, £20 on Uber is 20 miles, right? So if I done 20 miles on a local company, which cost a fiver, yeah, if I done 20 miles on a local company, I'm more or less close to 30 to £35 there for 20 miles. Easily close to £2 even more sometimes, because their mileage rate is so much more, right? So in this example, if you done 20 mile on the private company and you done 35 quid minus your fiver car, you're on 30 quid. But then people go, oh, the local company are a lot quieter than Uber. They are. So let's do a flip side, okay? Just say that you done 20 quid on Uber, yeah, but you done a lot more miles, and you done 20 quid on, say, Alpha as an example, local company. You both earn £20 an hour, yeah? But I can more or less guarantee, yeah, that was 20 miles Uber, so that cost you a fiver to do that £20, so you're left with 15. On that local company, to earn 20 quid, it might have been an 8-mile job, and you only had one job that hour. You done 3 on Uber, but you only had one on the local, but it was worth 20 quid. It probably cost about 8 mile, right? So that 8 mile at 25p, do you know what I mean? It's a couple of quid. So that 20 quid on Alpha, you're banking 17 quid, where on Uber you're banking 50. Do you get my whole point? It's all about your expenses, it's not about your income. So in this video, I started the video out and saying that Uber drivers need to watch this, and just going forward, guys, it's so important what car you pick. And at the end of the video, I'm just going to have a little snipe at the airport companies as well, racing to the bottom and charging so low. That's a good point because of the minibus stuff here. But going forward, if you want to stay on Uber and work Uber and you're happy with Uber, you've got to prioritise your expenses and go for your hybrids, your very good hybrids, or your electric cars if you can charge at home, by the way. If you can't charge at home, that figure will be a hell of a lot more. That's home charging figures, right? Now, that's Uber and general taxis. Airports, let's do an example, right? There's some companies in Liverpool that charge £80, yeah, for a Manchester airport from Liverpool in a V-Class, right? £80 in a V-Class, you're talking, what's 36 mile, 72? You're talking 70 odd mile, right? Call it 75 mile, right? And then 80 quid airport run, minus your 5 at all, as in it can make it math easier, 75 quid in your back pocket for your V-Class to the airport, right? It takes about 2.5 hours, yeah? 50p, a V-Class is 50p per mile, right? It's a 70 mile round trip to Manchester airport. So that's 35 quid. Straight off that 80 quid fare, because it's a V-Class. Now, if you've done the same 80 quid in a Ford Tornado, look at the difference. 34p. Do you know what I mean? If you've done it a 70 quid, but you're in a flipping Tesla Model 3, even more. So the way the prices and the expenses are going these days, it looks like your cars are making more money because they cost a lot less to get up the airport. Do you know what I mean? And that's where people like, they're lowering the prices to try and compete with Uber and compete with other people and everything else, but not even looking at the expenses. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to mention any names, any companies, not like that, but there's some companies, not many, are doing 75 quid man-airs in a V-Class, like requirement V-Class onlys. Do you know what I mean? A V-Class is 75 quid minus the toll is 72 quid. 72 quid for a 72 mile round trip is £1 a mile. 50p a mile is 50p a mile. Okay? So from the £72 they're leaving after the toll, yeah, you're getting literally half of that in your back pocket. So what's that, 36 quid? So if you get 36 quid after your vehicle expenses doing a 2.5 mile to 3 hour, 2.5 hour to 3 hour trip. Mind blowing. Same as like people on, looking at these figures, you'd probably say a V-Class would be better off on a local company than it would on Uber, by the looks of it. Do you know what I mean? Or if you're gonna be a V-Class on Uber, maybe just have exec XL and XL on only, and just be parked up and wait for those good jobs, those high paid rates. But if you're bouncing around on Uber X and the V-Class, you need your head feeling, like seriously. So yeah, guys, just start looking at and prioritising your expenses. I'm sorry this has gone on so long. I just found it fascinating, to be honest. So just look at your expenses, guys, and look at your vehicles. Now, you can go on ChatGPT and you can ask them, just go, I have got this vehicle, yeah? I do this amount of miles, blah, 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 blah. Put all your details in, and it'll tell you approximately how many miles the cost is per mile, including your depreciation and everything. Do you know what I mean? But what's sickening as well is just how little we're getting paid per mile. £1 per mile these days with these expenses is just not good enough. Do you know what I mean? Go in the mid-range standard diesel Octavia, 31p per mile. Do you know what I mean? So we're only getting 70p per mile after the expenses. It's just nuts. In the nuts, guys. Do us a favour, let me know in the comments. Have I missed anything out? It's been a bit of a long video, and it was a lot of work involved with this video, working with ChatGPT and trying to get the figures. Now, these figures are only guesstimates, guys, so please don't take this literal. Do you know what I mean? It's just guessing. It's just guessing. Like educated guessing with using AI. Do you know what I mean? But I learned some stuff. Like, I can't believe the E-Class is more than a Ford Tornado, right? I can't believe how close an Octavia is to a Toyota Corolla Hybrid. Because per mile, a Toyota Corolla mile per gallon is like 70s, where Octavia's 40s, 50s. But there's other factors that are making Skoda cheaper than Toyota. Maybe the maintenance costs or the repair costs or something. Do you know what I mean? What a fascinating chart anyway. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Do us a favour, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Let me know in the comments, please, what you think. And just be very, very careful going forward what you're going to do. Look at your car. Look at your expenses and then choose what you're going to do. Do you know what I mean? I have got this car, so I'm going to go local company. I've got this car, I'm going to stick with Uber, etc, etc. Just bear in mind your expenses and your outgoings and stuff like that. And it's not all about that £20. I'm happy with £20 an hour because it's your expenses. Your income's irrelevant, it's your profit. Alright, guys, thanks for tuning in. As per usual, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and hopefully this has opened your eyes a little bit and given you a bit more information to look at your own stuff. Nice one, guys. See you soon.